All right, everybody, we got a little pump-up music tonight. Hopefully YouTube doesn't strip that from me. Let's try to make a new view. My name's John Capobianco, and what I'm going to do today is I have a lot of views that give me the full database with different filters by year month, day, by operating system. What I'd like, though, to do is add a /latest, and we can just get the latest record because that's what we're often after without having to search and filter and find. What if I could just go to /latest/learnvrf and get the latest record? And then I'm also going to add that, if this works, to be the download button as well for like the CSV file, where you can download just the latest record as opposed to the full data set as an on-demand choice with a button. So that's the goal. Let's take a look here and see how we can get this going. So I have a new branch here called latest. And really what I think I just need are URLs and views. So let's go ahead and set up our URLs, and let's do the show version. Well, we're going to do all of them, but let me just rearrange these. Well, no, I kind of like them like that. So what we're going to have is, now we're going to have path latest, and let's do show, well, let's just do learn VLAN. Let's do them in alphabetical. Learn VLAN. And then this is going to be views, learn VLAN latest. And I think that's all we need. We don't need that in quotes, though. I need the quote over here. The quote over here. Okay, so that's our page. Latest, learn VLAN, and then our view, learn VLAN latest. So let's take that view name and head into views. And we're going to put that near the VLANs. And let's put it, where is my VLANs? At the bottom. So let's put it after the day archive. Let's put it in here. And we're going to define it. And it's going to be a request. And let's say, I think it's just the request. We're not passing anything else along with the request here, I don't believe. So now what we need is our vlist equals learn VLAN objects. And I think what I just do here is latest and say timestamp. I think that's all I need to do here. Let's try that. And then what we're going to have is the context equals VLAN list vlist, and then we're going to return render request learn, and this is latest learn VLAN, and then we're going to have learn VLAN latest.html, and we need to pass it the context. I think this is all we need to do. Now we need to make this path. So what we need is, in our templates here, we need a new folder called latest. And then we're going to need a new folder in here called learn VLAN. And then we're going to just take this. Actually, let's just take the whole file in and then refactor it. And we're going to call this latest. And this is learn VLAN. Let's change this to say latest learn VLAN. This is latest learn VLAN. And I believe that's all we need to do, at least for the HTML page. So let's save our URLs. Let's turn on our server. And my path, yeah, something wrong with my path here. I didn't put a comma. That's my problem. Let's try that again. Okay, so the server just fixes itself here. And let's go to our, close all these down and go to our localhost 8000/latest learn VLAN. Learn VLAN is not iteratable. Okay, so it's not iteratable, which means I had a problem in the template. Not a big deal. I copied it from learn VLAN here, let's say OS archive. There's a for loop in here because it's expecting multiple records. Well, obviously latest is only going to be a single record. So I've refactored out the for loop and I'm going into VLAN list dot, not VLAN dot as part of a for loop. Let's turn the server back on and take a look here. And I even have a way to prove that it's working, which is really neat. So let me launch the server here. And I'll show you what's what here. So if we go to latest learn VLAN, there is the latest learn VLAN from the database. Pretty cool, right? Well, do we have a way to test this? Well, we sure do. Guess what? We have an on-demand center where I can click Learn VLAN. It'll start the job in the server here. And we just hit refresh here. This should roll over as soon as the pyATS job is done. And it did roll over to a new set of date and time. Right? The time changed. It's subtle, but let's do it again, right? So there's the refreshed, and let's do get all. And it was 3:16 p.m. Don't worry about the date and time, it's still off. I haven't reset the database yet. But now we just refresh and the pyATS job should be running here in the background. There it goes. And we refresh the screen. And that should change from there, 3:17. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. So that's the on-demand latest button. Now I need to retrofit that for the other two commands. And then I'm going to see if I can retrofit it to the button so that on the CSV page, people can download either just the latest record or the full database. All right, that's more to come. I'll pick up the video real soon. Thanks. All right, let's keep going. We got two more commands that I'd like to put the latest view in for the HTML views. Let's get those out of the way and then we'll move on to the buttons if we can. All right, so this is pretty straightforward, right? We hop into Merlin. We know we need a template, so I'm just going to copy this whole learn VLAN and make it learn VRF. Hop into the HTML page. And again, this is now coming from learn VRF, so we're going to steal this minus the for loop. All right, so we're just going to take all of that, paste it in, and this is going to be the latest learn VRF. And latest learn VRF. And we don't need this for loop. And we'll just bring everything back over. I can do that later, doesn't matter. Let's just do it this way. Okay, so then this has to become, and I'm not inside of a for loop, so this is VRF list. Gotta watch that. And what did I actually, do I have? I see I have the device name and captured here. I should add that to this one as well, but that's okay. Let's just keep moving here. And this is the VRF, not the individual loop, but I need to take out this for loop. All right, let's save that. And now, so that's our templated file. Now we need our URL, right? And we're just going to add latest learn VRF, learn VRF latest. Then we need to make this function in our views. So we already have the learn VLAN latest. Let's copy that. find the end of our VRFs by day in here. And then we just change our things accordingly. Now the real magic is this next line of code right here. This line of code. This is our view in, and we're saying go into learn VRF objects and get the latest based on the timestamp field, because it's a timestamp field. Again, remember our model. This is important. The model is a date time field, which means timestamp has latest available to it, right? So then that's what we can use to filter down and get just the latest VRF data set. All right, now that should be it. I really believe that's all we need to do. So let's turn our server back on. I know I don't need to do that. I like to just do it. It's a bit of a quirk of mine, I guess. I know the server restarts when it needs to, but it's just something I like to do. So then let's go to learn VRF. No, latest. Learn VRF. Template does not exist. Latest, learn VRF. Did I not do that? Templates, latest, learn VRF. Oh, haha, I didn't rename this file. You probably caught that at home. Anyway, little booby trap there. Let's refresh the page. It should work now. There we go. There's our latest. Now it's hard to that's only one VRF. I should have a management VRF as well. So maybe I do need the for loop here. Or that's the latest record, so it's only taking in that record. I see. Well, that's not quite what we're after here. Now, if I do learn VLAN, let me make sure here. I see, it's the same thing. It's only the first VLAN. So I am going to need a for loop. Let's revisit this. I'm not quite getting what I'm after. I should have caught that on the VLAN, that it was only VLAN 1. I do need a for loop in here somewhere. Let's take a break and take a look at this. Hey everybody. I see what's happening here. It took me a little bit to figure it out. The code's working and the view is working, and that it's doing what it's supposed to do. I don't need to do anything any further than the logic we have. Here's the snag. I'm going to show you the database view real quick, and this is why it's not working the way we expect it to. If we go into the admin panel, look at these timestamps. It's after the millisecond. So it's so finely tuned that it doesn't see these as the same record set. So it's only giving me back VLAN 1 because that's the latest record, 333 versus 329. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to blow away all these records. I don't have to change anything in my models. Everything's fine. What I need to change is here in my Merlin code, right here where I'm saying date time now. I'm going to have to adjust this to be a date time without the milliseconds. So just down to the second. All right, so I'm going to make those adjustments, blow away the database, and start again and see how I can make this latest actually be working beyond a single VLAN. All right, thanks very much. Okay, so we've just, I'll show you what I've done here. I've dropped the milliseconds, and I think this is going to fix everything. So I'm going to run I flushed out the database. All the records are gone. Let's click the button to populate after I show you here. So in my different Python code, I'll show you here for the date time, all the way at the end here. I used to just have date time now. Now I'm adding the string time, and I'm setting up my own string for the format, which ends at seconds. Okay, so that should do it. Now let me try it. So let's run the get them all. Now I didn't change my models or anything. I just flushed the database to get rid of the old time format. So it's all ingesting properly. That's a good sign. It's refreshed all the records. Now let's try this latest learn VLAN Too many values to unpack. I've changed something. What about learn VRF? That was the one I was playing with. Same thing. Object is not iterable. So let me go back to the admin panel. And let's take a look here. Do I have... Okay, so they all match the timestamp. They're all 46. Now there's only one record. They're the same. Okay, so I've normalized the timestamp. Now let me go back to the... code now that I have the normalized timestamps. It's still not quite working, but I was changing many things. Let me try to reset with the new timestamp. All right, I'll be back. Okay, unless there's any other surprises, I believe I have it working for show VLAN and show VRF, and then what we can try to do is write it together now that I've worked out the hiccups for the show version that I haven't done yet. So let me show you what I've done. Now that I've removed the milliseconds, what I can do is, and I had to add one line extra of code, in my learn VLAN latest, I'm going to go set a variable that is the timestamp. And then I'm going to filter where that timestamp equals the latest.timestamp. And then I can loop in my template as I intended to do. Now let me just check my VRF template. I haven't, this looks correct as well. And let's take a look. So now there is the latest learn VLAN data set. And let's duplicate the tab and let's look at the VRF. Now the timestamp should be the same here, because I did it in one button click. No, context is not defined. Whoops, I've made a mistake in my view. Where's my view here for my learn VRF? Oh, I copied over it by accident. Let's just quickly fix that. That's just in the view here. And I have to say VRF list. Sorry about that, geez. I hadn't tested this one. And there we go. And I have two records now. That's what I expected. And we can see the timestamps are in here. And we can see the timestamps are in here. So let's go ahead and go to the on-demand center and test this out before I write it off as working. So let's get them separately so they have different timestamps. So learn VRF or VLAN first. It's kicking that job off, and if we refresh this page, it should move from 402, hey, to 410. Look at that, working. All right, now let's test the VRF just before we get too excited. And the VRF job is running. And again, nothing's going to change other than the captured time here. 410, working, working, working. Okay, wonderful. I have one more to do. I'm going to put a breakpoint in here. If you need to take a break, it's a good time. And then let's do the show version latest to finish this up. Then I have to make the buttons for the CSV views for latest. Getting pretty close though. This latest exercise is very good. And we've learned a little bit. Milliseconds is a problem. Okay, we'll see you soon. Hey everybody. Now that we are on track and have our timestamps normalized without milliseconds, let's go ahead and do the show version latest data set. Now again, there's really only three things we need to do. We need to make a new template, and what we're going to do is going to steal that template. So I'm going to hit, I'm going to make a new folder in my templates folder for show version, and then I'm actually going to steal, it doesn't matter, let's say the OS archive here, whoops, and put it into the show version command. Let's rename this latest, I think we called it. Yeah, show version latest. And then this is going to be the latest show version results. Let me just get rid of that. And we just say, again here in our header, latest version results. We don't need to change anything else in here. And so now what we're going to do, now that we have our template set up, is set up our URL. Now the URL is real simple. And again, I'm going to copy two existing URLs. Now we need the, actually, no, I'm not. I'm just going to copy one. We just have one view for this, excuse me. And this is going to be latest show version. Now I'm going to change this around. Don't worry about that. I'm going to refactor this and have, well, I don't know. I might have a parent latest. Well, let's maybe add that after. Let's finish what we're doing here. But I might just have a show latest with links to these others so that you go to a central place maybe. But for now, let's get the show latest version. And now what we need is our view. And again, for our view, I'm going to take the, it's going to be down here all the way at the bottom. The latest right here. Latest. I'm going to take latest from VLANs and then refactor it here. And let's put it under the operating systems like the other ones. And again, this is the function, show version latest. And this is from the show version objects latest. And then we do it again, show version objects filter. And this is going to be, what do we call this? Version list, yep. And this is going to be latest show version latest. Okay, now is my VPN still up? It is. So what we should be able to do is, first of all, let's just make sure that this works. And what we'll do is hit this latest page. And this is going to be show version. And my server is not running. Let's turn the server on. That's going to help us. Whoops. CD Merlin. Here we go. All right, no issues. Refresh the page. There is the latest version. Now, how can we confirm that this is actually working? Well, it's very easy. We're going to go back to our on-demand center. On demand, and let's get the show version. That's going to fire up the code. Code's going to run. And let's refresh the page. And what we should see here is this timestamp should change. And boom, it changed. So that's it. We have the latest function working. Now my next step is going to be to make the CSV latest buttons so that the user can get all records for a command or just the latest records in their CSV download. That will be my next step. I also want to set up a CSV business center, a central page for all of those buttons. And I also want to set up a central homepage for the latest, where you can go to just /latest and it will be an index page of the buttons to the further downstream pages. Lots more to come, but it's coming along very nicely. So I'm going to move to working on the buttons. I'm going to try to do this with you. I don't guarantee success, but let's see what happens. All right, we'll see you soon.